Hello again, I am Bob and welcome back to Estancia Lapacho for another episode of our Platinum Farm. I've just started a worker off on field 1 here. We're using our seeding, ploughing, cultivator, but we're just ploughing and cultivating. We're not seeding this time out because we're going to plant directly onto this with sugarcane. So, as you can see, fields 1 and 2 are now in need of ploughing. They've had 3 rounds of crop on them. They've both had a field of wheat each and then a field of soybean each as well. Field 14 is still good for 1 more round, I think, maybe 2. But yeah, we need to get these fields cleaned up before we start planting on them, especially seeing as it's going to be quite handy as well, is the fact that we'll get 3 plantings out of our sugarcane when we grow it. Means that we really needed these to be, completely reset before we started planting on them, so that we would get 3 fully functioning harvests out of the ground before it needed ploughing again. So while he's doing that, we are going to grab this. We are actually sliding around a little bit, so I'm going to fit a weight to the front as well. We do have a couple of weights. Oops. Just to help us counterbalance the weight of this a little bit better. Let's just disconnect it first. Let's see. It's quite heavy, so let's grab the biggest of the 2 weights. There we go. We are fractionally underpowered for this as well. I mean, we need 220 odd horsepower to pull this, and we're currently at 210. So we're fractionally underpowered, but it's nothing major, nothing serious. It's not going to destroy our tractor. And this one we're going to put to work on this field here. The other planter we are going to put to work on field 1. So need to get our equipment back to the farm here, because I'm going to have to kind of switch things over a bit. This tractor is slightly underpowered to run the ploughing cultivator, but it's the best option for that, so that we can then use our ST Max 150, our Stara 150, which is actually technically a 180, I suppose now. We can use that for running the single billet planter on that field. I want to try and get both fields up and running at the same time. It is kind of a shame that we don't have a second powerful tractor. We've got 2 that are slightly underpowered. I am toying with the idea of getting rid of the Massey, just because it's largely superfluous now. We don't really need a 4th tractor, and without the ability to put care wheels on it, it does kind of make it less useful than this little 105 that we're in right now. And the power is about the same on both tractors, negligible difference. So yeah, it just does seem to be a case of, do we really need 2 very small, very weak tractors to go with a mid-sized and a larger mid-sized tractor? And I think the answer right now is not really. So I think it's going to be time to say goodbye to the Massey. We'll keep hold of it for a little while longer, but it's on borrowed time now, that's for sure. This planter is a little bit heavier on the horsepower requirements than the other one, than the cultivating plough that we have. So I really should stop calling it the cultivating plough. But you know what I mean. So we have those there. Let's wait for him to complete the pass. Then we'll bring this back, we'll swap the tractors over. Right, so let's bring this back to the farm. Well, take back to the farm, back to the edge of the field. We'll get our 105 to pull the fox. And then we'll get the 180 to pull the single billet planter. It's a shame we don't have two of these, really. I could do with... at least clearing up a bit of ground for our other planter as well. Let's deposit that there. I mean, there is something we can do to get around that. We can do a few runs up and down the field with the 4-metre plough with the voucher first. Give us a little bit of ground to work on. Hopefully this isn't going to be too slow. Maybe we could potentially get another one of those. How much money do we actually have left? I'm guessing not much. We've got 30,000. How much would a second one of those set me back? Just out of interest. I don't really want to get another one. Oh, they're not that expensive. They're not that expensive at all. Still, yeah, I still can't get over the price of those. But we may well need one of those once we've done 3 rounds of harvesting of our sugarcane. You never know. So we'll be looking into those at that point. Do I go with a larger? Do I go with a laser? I'll need 220 horsepower to pull this. That kind of defeats its purpose. Yeah, let's just lease one of these. We'll keep it standard. I don't even have enough money to lease it. Ah, just short. Okay, so I'm going to need to borrow an extra 5,000. There we go. Alright, so this will give us something to do with our New Holland. Sorry, with our Massey. So let's detach. Why won't it let me detach the front loader? Maybe it's because the bucket's on there. Ooh, it's a bit wobbly. Very wobbly. Not convinced by that. So we're going to grab the other. I'm just going to cut across here, go cross country this time out. We'll grab the other fox, we'll put that to work on field 2, and then we can get a worker to pull the single billet planter while we run the double billet planter on field 2. And that way we can make a good start on getting both of those fields planted at the same rough kind of time. I do think there's definitely scope to do something with all of this area. There's a lot of trees that would need to be cut down, and then a lot of ploughing that would need to be done to rip the ground up, but I think you could actually do something quite quite special with that area there, you know, if you're creative enough. And we're going to hit the road on the way back. Listening to that engine whirring away like crazy. A little convoy of traffic coming up here. Is that the bus, slight type van thing that's in the river? I think it is. Yeah, a little sort of community bus there. Alright, swinging in. This is probably the hardest working engine, or at least it sounds like it's the hardest working engine in the game. There we go. So he'll be slightly underpowered on this, but better than nothing, I suppose. So there was me saying I don't need 4 tractors, and all of a sudden we kind of need 4 tractors. I mean, we could do this with just 2 or 3, but you know, this obviously, you know, helps to speed things up a bit by having that extra engine helping us out here. So there we go. We check. We should now be starting to plough that bit of field. Yes, we are. Well, worker 1's made a really good start on there. We need to play catch up. That's where is it? There it is. Let's get a worker fired up in this one then. This is going to take a long time to get these fields done. But in the end, it's going to be worth it when you consider the sheer amount of sugarcane we're going to get. And if we can get another great demand, like the one that we've just had, and not really been in a position to take advantage of, if we can get another proper great demand like that, we will be, you know, on easy street going forward. So we just need to let that cultivator come back down and give us a little bit of working room. Need to make sure that there's room to clear. It's only going to be an issue for the first couple of passes, and then the Massey should be far enough ahead of us with that wider working width to not be an issue going forward. See it bouncing up and down on the field there. Alright, we look to be about ready to get started. So I have no idea where I need to position myself, but I think this should be okay. There we go, we are on, we are off and running. And wow, we are slow. I knew we were slightly underpowered, but I thought we'd be moving a little bit faster than 5 miles an hour. I do like seeing the sugarcane getting sprayed with the fertilizer as it's going in. It does seem kind of weird that we're putting in solid fertilizer and then I'm guessing it's being sprayed with pesticide or fertilizer. Maybe it's just being sprayed with water to soften it up to get it in the ground. I don't know. Maybe the pellets are added at the same time as the seed. Might have to look into that one. We are drifting. Let's try and get back on target. There we go. Just a little instep there where we drifted a bit too much. Put my wheel there, I think. In that groove. Hard to see exactly where I need to be to overlap. I think I might possibly have overdone it. Oh, I'm drifting a lot. It's clumsy. Maybe I just need to put my wheel right up against the edge. Yeah, that seems to be working fine. Does that look like in cab? Not so easy to actually determine. We don't seem to be leaving any gaps behind us. There's no way I would want to do this field with just a single billet planter. That would just take us forever. But with a double billet planter, I think this shouldn't take too long. It'll certainly probably end up taking most of the rest of the episode, if not all the rest of the episode. That little bit that I missed there. Go. So I suppose I need to line up my wheel there going forward, but we did have that bit where we drifted inside at the other end, so I'm going to step in a line just here, so hopefully we won't have to adjust quite so much at the other end of the field. You can see how much those tyres are getting compressed on this ground. It's pretty cool to watch, actually. I do like that. Nice smooth brake here. We are getting a little bit of frame rate lag, and I think it may be because we have the giant silo on the map now, but it's not too bad. It's only more at certain angles than others as well, so there we go. Spin around. Position the wheels on the edge. Yeah, that seems to be working quite nicely for us there. How are we getting on over there? Pretty good. There goes our Massey. It's keeping just ahead of us. So yeah, definitely going to have to get a lot of contracting done between our crops growing and being ready to harvest. because we don't have any way of harvesting the sugarcane at the moment. You know, we sold the only harvester we did have because it was just way too cumbersome, way too slow. We desperately need, you know, that case harvester, but we now need to raise an awful lot of money again. I mean, we've got what, 25,000-30,000 in total, including what's in our account right now and our loan. That's everything. That's all we have, around $25,000 to $30,000. We've got plenty of equipment now. We've got plenty of seed. We've got plenty of fertilizer. The only thing we're going to be short on that we're going to have to go and buy is some more sugarcane, but that's cheap enough, so we can kind of get away with that. I am curious as well, if we were to maybe stick some of that sugarcane directly into a trailer and then try and sell it at the harbour, whether or not we would be able to do that. We could effectively just buy a load of stuff and then sell it for twice the price. Be a little bit cheaty and a little bit cheeky doing it. But I am curious as to whether or not that would actually work. I'm not going to do it on this farm, but if someone else out there has tried it or wants to try it, you know, I'm curious enough to, please let me know how it turned out. I would like to hear whether or not that actually worked. But it's not something I'm going to do myself. I'm going to earn the cash that we need through contracting work, because it serves two purposes. One, it gives us, the money. Two, it gives me a sense of, having earned that money rather than just scammed the market system. And three, it reduces the cost of all the fields that we'll be buying next as well. So, it's definitely, makes much more sense. It'll be much quicker and easier, I think, to make the money contracting than, loading, pallets that are, 2,000 litres at a time into a trailer, trucking them all the way down there, coming all the way back, doing the same again. It's just, I think it'd be much easier to literally just, and a lot less hassle to just do the contract work. And as I say, we do need to raise that money. So we do need to sort of reduce the price of those fields as well. We are going to have to plant in there in the future, so if we can kill two birds with one stone, then we'll definitely do that. So the voucher is working beautifully so far. See how much quicker we're getting this field done compared to the other one there. Does not look like we've made much progress over there. Certainly not compared to over here. And it's not going to be a power issue, because I think we only need like 140, 150 horsepower to pull that other seeder, and we've got 180. So power shouldn't be an issue. It's just working width. This has a much nicer, happier working width for us. Yeah, I'm just watching those front tyres getting compressed. Partly from the bouncing, partly from the front weight. It's a big heavy weight that we have at the front. We're not quite close enough. I'm worried that might be the case. So it looks as though the rear wheel of the wheels of the planter are our guidelines. We'll plant the other side of the wheel, but not past it. So that's kind of useful for lining up. You can see we're running along this sort of furrow ridge here. That's kind of our guide wheel, I suppose. As long as we have ground underneath that's already been done, we should be fine. This might be a little bit sketchy. It's kind of borderline, I think. Yeah, we just got away with it there. So we're going to need a nice clean run along here. Try and get a consistently straight edge. so that we're not constantly going in and out, having to reposition our harvester, or sorry, our planter as we move along. I'm really looking forward to seeing loads and loads of different fields all full of sugarcane, and then watching it grow back and grow back again. I want to see if there's a real difference to just how thick the ground looks once we've got multiple harvests worth of cuttings on the ground. And also I want to see whether or not we need one of those big TT cultivators. Well, I say big, they're small but big power requirement TT cultivators, or whether just a regular cultivator will do to clear that back down. There we go, so we should have a nice consistent edge this time. Let's get our wheel lined up. Running along that ridge line just there with our front wheel. As long as we hold that line, we should be good. Could potentially even actually have drifted out a little bit wider, but better play it a little bit safer than sorry. Sugarcane is going down quite quickly, as you can see. We're down to about half of what we started with. We've done quite a bit of the field already, though. You know, I'm amazed it's going this quickly. I honestly thought this would be, you know, horrendously slow, but these double billet planters are actually pretty good. They're not too bad at all. Oops, start to drift. Catch that before we get too far out. See, there's a little bump in the field right here at the end. Quite a severe little bump, actually. Sometimes you don't notice things like that until... that's interesting. I'll have to go back at that the other direction. The angle was so steep that it actually pulled the planter out of the ground. Interesting. Try and be a little bit more daring with our placement this time. Just run the wheel along the line from the planter rather than the tractor. So far, so good. I have to say, I was dreading planting this manually. I thought this was going to be an absolute nightmare. With the single planter, it was very tough to stay motivated to plant big fields with that. But with this double planter, I'm finding it a lot more enjoyable. I have to say, that is definitely the case. Let's just actually check in on the rest of the guys, see how they're getting on. So, he's almost done. One more pass after the one he's on. Yeah, look how little of the field we've done there. We're almost out of fertiliser as well, so... And look how much he's having to double up as well to make sure that he actually gets his planting done. I know the AI tends to overlap slightly more than, you know, a player would potentially risk. But the AI is usually more consistent in terms of being able to drive in a straight line. So, yeah, we're going to need to bring up a pallet of fertiliser or two. Oh, combine's practically out of fuel as well. Where is our forklift? Let's go grab another pallet of fertiliser. We might need two, actually. No, we'll just grab the one. Because I did say that I was going to use the single row planter until I'd used up all the fertiliser. Well, I pretty much used up all the fertiliser. We do have a little bit of sugarcane left in there though, so I need to have at least something in reserve for it. Ooh, a little bit of a wobble there as I took that corner a bit too fast. And that is our cultivator finished, I believe. Yep, there he is, parked up. So we'll top up this one first, and then whatever's left we'll put into the other unit. So we should have a few hundred litres left. Yeah, 273. That should hopefully get us to the end of the seed left in that particular unit just there. Stay off the cultivated ground, otherwise we'll bounce all over the place in this tiny little thing. To catch him before he actually managed to turn around. I'm not going to quite make it, I don't think. Ooh, can't adjust. That was pretty close. There we go. That should be enough, I think, to get us finished off. And I thought we'd actually hired the same worker back again there for a second. We haven't. It's a different worker. Helper P is blocked by an object. Who is Helper P? See, I think that's Helper P. Yeah, it is. So that's just a delayed message from when we were trying to load up earlier with that fertilizer. Alright, there we go. Tip angle nice and high. Definitely going to need to make a big run, get some pallets. The Horsch aggravation pack is now available for PC users everywhere. It was officially announced as available the same day that these mods came out. Actually, obviously I'm recording a few episodes back to back. And they did say that it's definitely going to come to consoles, but they need to spend some time trying to configure it and make sure that it's working properly, because there is some scripting in the vehicles. It's put together by Vertex Design as part of the mod contest. I think Vertex Design was the winner, if I remember rightly, of the Horsch aggravation map contest. And as a result, got to tour the Horsch plant and got a nice big cash prize and some other little bits and bobs, and has put together the Horsch aggravation DLC, which features a whole load of Horsch equipment, which actually looks really cool. There's some really nice stuff in there that I would love to get my hands on, and we are going to get it on console. We just have to wait until it's actually been coded. But we will definitely get it. Giants have said that they are working on coding it right now. It's just those vehicle scripts that are taking a little bit longer to get done. But we will definitely have that DLC for free, which is excellent news. You know, I'm never one to turn my nose up at free content. And an extra selection of tools and equipment is always going to be a plus. There's even a couple of vehicles in that kit as well, I believe. So once that comes out, we'll obviously do a tour of the aggravation map and a full look at all of the equipment that we're going to get with it as well, because there is quite a lot in that set. And we may even run an aggravation farm for a little while. We'll see what we've got going on at the time when it comes out. There is our other planter just turning around. There he is. So we've been going on this field for about half an hour, just under half an hour now, once we've got everything kind of set up. Actually probably closer to 25 minutes. And I think we've made some pretty decent progress in 20 to 25 minutes. Yeah, when you factor in the little pause that we had to make to grab the seed, sorry, not seed, the fertilizer, and obviously positioning everything to get set up and swapping some tractors over, I think we've actually made some decent progress. It's definitely not going to take as long as I was worried it would do. It's still going to take us a while though. We're not going to get this field done before the episode timer runs out. So I'm going to carry on with this off camera once the time runs out. We've got a little bit of time left, but not much. I'll continue to work this field, and then when it's done, when you come back, we'll be probably jumping straight into some contract work while our sugarcane grows. Because we're not going to have much else to do. We actually do have our other field to plant as well, so we'll need to get some seed into field 14. Probably going to end up going with canola, although I might just I might just put soybean in there just so we've got a little bit in stock. I probably am going to do that actually. I don't really want to plant canola on this farm if I can. As I say, I do want to try and limit the crops that we grow on this particular farm to just a small number, rather than planting everything. So I'll probably just plant some more soybean and then just stick it into storage in our silo until we get a nice reserve built up and another good price again. That's a good point actually. What is the price looking like since we sold? It's rebounded a little bit, but it did drop. Still in that 372, but we haven't got any more sugarcane left to sell. Yeah, I just wish we hadn't sold when we did. I just wish we'd been able to hold off for an extra couple of episodes, and we would have made a killing, an absolute killing. Still, next time, we're going to have a huge amount of crop next time. And I think we may even end up having to put a couple more of those silo placeables in elsewhere as well for more sugarcane. We're going to keep one at the farm, but if we do have to make any other ones, I think we're going to have to create an area on the map. It's just, a load of those put together. Because otherwise, we're just going to run out of room at the farm really quickly. Because they are not small, they're big placeables. You can see just how tall the thing is, but it's how wide it is as well, and how much space that it takes up, not just with the mod itself, but the area where you then can't place anything near it as well. That's quite a large area. As you saw when we put it down, we were looking at maybe putting in a vehicle shed behind it, and there was just a disqualification area that wouldn't let us plant anything there, or place anything there. So there's only so many of those you can actually put close together before you have no place left to put them, and I don't think there's really that much space left anywhere else on the farm for another one of those. So I think we'll have to create an area somewhere on the map if we need more of those, and put 2 or 3 of them, in close proximity with each other. We'll see how that goes, if and when that situation arises. Alright, so I'm going to call it an episode here. We've been going for around about 40 minutes. It's a slightly shorter episode than we normally run, but we'll end it here. When you come back, as I say, this seeding will be finished, or will be just being finished off, one of the two. And then we'll get our other field planted. We'll go into some contract work and try and earn a lot of cash so that we can save up for our case harvester. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Farming Simulator 17 Platinum Edition farm with Estancia Lapacho very soon.